a big good man. And you've been covering the the Mark Moore stuff too, which is
Yeah, because me and Dante, me and
yeah,
Dante, I'm cool with Dante.
yeah, you
So
cool Dante, yeah.
yeah,
And so like, and I've never, I'm military, but I've dealt with bad cops and shit like that before, but I've never been to prison or anything like that. So I don't know
me either.
nothing about prison, but it's
Uh,
like you were exposed. When I saw that documentary as a kid, scared the hell out of me. In like 2010, about probably 20. I first graduated high school like 2009 or 10. Around that time, I first graduated high school because I'm 35 now, and I saw that documentary. It scared the hell out of me. Never really got in any serious trouble. So
yeah,
but then now Mark, the way he did it, the way he it's the way he reminisced about, it's like reminiscing about girls we've had in the past. The way he reminisced about it, it was just
uh,
like it's so
he,
authentic.
yeah. The description, the way he
Yeah,
describes things, and he talks about it. Yeah, there's no turning back at this point. But
yeah. It's like you can't fake that. You can't.
yeah,
It's too
correct.
good. It's too good. Yeah.
Yeah, the way he goes in on it. But
Mhm.
so back in 2017, before I even started doing my own channel, I went on the Fresh Out podcast. So if you type in Fresh Out Navy, I was
Mhm.
like the first military person you
I
ever
seen
had.
you. I seen you because you said it
Okay.
was a cheek busted in the Navy. I think it
Yeah,
was,
yeah,
which is such a
yeah,
funny title.
yeah. Like even though like yeah, it's clickbait, but like we did like 3 hours, but it was cool. Like I said, he's been to prison.
And
I
I'm
never
friends
been
with
myself.
I'm friends with OG Silverback.
Okay.
Yeah, I just talked to him on the phone. Just he's he's
Uh,
ex-military too. He's Puerto
mhm.
Rican from ex-military. But yeah, man. Yeah. So my story is not. It's probably I only did 4 years, and it's probably not as quite
Uh-huh.
action packed. But I dealt with a lot of bullshit because I had a bad commanding officer that was a Mormon guy. I don't know if you're familiar with the Mormon church or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I met a few people in the military while I was in.
Yeah, but have a lot of, like, I think a lot of white supremacists in their ranks, I think, or something like that, because
Hmm.
they got it's like just this guy was had a bone to pick with me, and I didn't even do nothing other than I didn't take the COVID shot, so
Uh,
he was out to get me, so
yeah, that's unfortunate.
yeah, so that
Like
was
so,
just
so I was out. I was retired about time they did that. But I was in. This was before your time when they did the anthrax shot,
hmm
and a lot of people were kicked out because they refused to take the anthrax shot at that time.
hmm
So, and I'm pretty sure there probably was stuff before even before my time.
hmm
People refused to take, got kicked out. So yeah, that
yeah,
there's gonna be situations like that. But yeah, there will be people like you feel as though like you are picked out of a bunch, like out of everybody else, which is very unfortunate. And it happens,
hmm
and unfortunate no one was there to have your back or anything while you were in.
hmm yeah,
Yeah,
it was crazy, yeah, it was a weird, it's a weird situation to be in because I I'm kind of like a distrustful of government. So I don't, I'm just like, you're rushing this shot out here, and how do you know how do I know what's in that thing? You rush
yeah,
this.
yeah. So let me ask you this: where are you
Yeah.
originally from?
Well, I was born in. My dad was military too, so I was born in
Okay.
Texas, Dallas, Texas, Arlington, Texas. But my
Hmm.
family's from North Carolina, so all my
Okay.
family's from North Carolina, both sides.
Okay. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, little small
Okay,
town outside of Pittsburgh. So that's where I grew up.
okay, Pittsburgh.
My
Okay,
whole time. Yeah. Even though we moved around, we still stay in the same vicinity in
yeah.
Western Pennsylvania. Yes, that's where I grew up at, man.
Oh,
So
okay.
before you joined, were you involved in any extracurricular activities growing up?
Uh, my mom didn't let me play hardcore sports other than playing sports with my younger brother.
Hmm.
In our we had an acre, so we would play soccer and football, just one on one each other in basketball, but um and skateboard and stuff like that. But we I played in band because
Okay.
I grew up in because my dad was ex-military too, so
Hmm.
he was in the army in the 90s. He got out and he got a good job working for the FAA. And
Okay.
so we moved around a lot because of the FAA. You might move right to the military. First,
Yeah.
I was born in Arlington. Then we moved to uh, Germany for 2 years, and then we moved to San Antonio like 5 years. Then we moved to Memphis, Tennessee area, where we lived there 10 years. And I went to high school there. Then I moved to Florida. We moved to Florida in 2016, and then then I decided to join the military, and I joined the military officially in 2019. Then and then I moved back to Florida. Now that I've been out, so
do you remember at all when you were in Germany?
Oh yeah, I still remember. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, what part of Germany were you in?
Frankfurt.
Frankfurt. Okay. Yeah. So I actually have family. I have an older brother who was in the army, and so through that I have a niece and a nephew that live over there.
That's awesome, man. And then OG knows a guy that he's a German war baby. His dad is a black soldier, and then his mom is like a German chick. There's so many guys like that where they're like these, like the actress Zazie Beetz or something. They're one parent is a black guy, and one parent's black, and then one parent's German or something. So yeah, but
military, they'll leave their roots.
yeah. So you ever see the movie called A Soldier Story from the 80s? It's one of Denzel's first movies.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
Light-skinned guy with the light-skinned guy who's in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this. So before you joined the army, did you consider any other branches?
My dad was Army, and then I knew that I said, okay. I thought about it. I said, okay, my dad's Army, so I'm probably just going to the Army. Then I thought about Air Force. Air Force went, recruiting. Like when I was during my day, they weren't in 2019, 2018. They weren't recruiting. They didn't need anybody, so they weren't. The office is empty and closed. It's like getting, you have to a special appointment only to get a recruiter. They're hungry like Army and Marine Corps, and then Marine Corps. I'm a big guy, and they want some little scrawny little dudes, and I'm like, okay, no, I'm too big for that shit. And then Navy, my dad was going, was going to roast me if I was joining Navy. No offense to you, but we all make the jokes,
Yeah.
And then there's a shirt. I just bought a shirt, and I'll get it delivered tomorrow. It says Army because no one played Navy when they were a kid. We all play Army when they get a stick rifle, or we get a little water. We play. Oh no, we had a water gun. Vince got super soakers.
Yeah,
come on, man. But we're shooting water, but we're playing Army. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so then Air Force wasn't recruiting. Marine Corps too big. I'm too. I was. I'm not obese, but too big. They want some skinny little guy. And Navy, don't need to say more on why I wouldn't do that. So then that's why. So pretty simple why. So
when you came in, where did they do boot camp at?
I went to, because the Army does boot camp at like 4 places, but I got Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
That's Missouri.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because the Army's so big, they have Fort Leonard Wood, they got Fort Sill, they got Fort
Jackson,
Relaxing Jackson, and then where is the other one at? And then Fort Benning, in Georgia, So Georgia, they got 4,
So when I went to combat training before I went to Iraq, they sent me to Fort Jackson. I was there for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
But we didn't stay on the Fort Jackson. There was like an Army National Guard base, so we stayed there. And like when we would do all our training, we would, they would just bust us down. We were coming through like a side gate, like that they hardly ever used, but it was cool. But very humid and hot there. It was very humid and hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They said they came down between like Fort Jackson and a place in Arizona, to acclimate us to like some of the temperature and stuff like that we would receive. But when I went to Iraq, I think Arizona probably would have been better because Arizona, Iraq, over there in the Middle East, it's not humid.
No, and I was stationed at Fort Bliss, El Paso, Texas, and I think they stationed soldiers there because the climate is so similar to the Middle East because it's just a desert. It's like a Texas desert, and so that Arizona lines up too, and then El Paso lines up with that desert. No humidity, no rain. I mean, Rain
Well,
is
we got
rare.
when I was
Yeah.
in Iraq, we got rain. We got rain
I
towards the
got rain.
end.
I mean, I did
Yeah.
because I did 3. I was stationed almost 3 years, so
Mhm.
uh, we had rainstorms that would come through, and it was to be a down. Like when it rained, it poured, but
Yeah.
it's rare. It's like every 6 months to. Sometimes it wouldn't even be six. Sometimes it'd be every 6 months. Then also there was one year we had snow on Valentine's Day. I'll never forget it. Valentine's Day 2020, 2021. We got
Mhm.
we got 3 inches of snow in El Paso, Texas, which is unheard of. So that was crazy. So
So when I deployed to Iraq, they said it was the hottest summer they ever had, and then when the wintertime came, it rained a lot. They said they got the most rainfall. Like we did get a lot of rain. Like one of the T walls fell because it was so much rain, and it
mhm.
loosened the ground. Yeah, one of those big T walls fell. But yeah, man, it was.
Did you like were you like in like a corpsman or something? So you would go on go
So,
in with the
so
Marines or something or
So this is how it breaks down. In the Navy, they had this thing called IA, individual augmentee. So basically, I was taken from my job and sent to Iraq. So I was with Navy Special Warfare Group 1 and Navy Special Warfare Group 1. They're over all the West Coast SEAL teams. So while I was there, SEAL Team 3 and 7 was there with us. But also there was the Army, some of the teams.
Mhm.
I had never heard of the teams until deploying there. And what's another thing? This is funny, but it's not funny. So while we were there was a guy from Delta Force who got killed in one of the missions.
Mhm.
And I reached back and told one of my buddies.
Mhm.
He was like, Delta Force? I didn't know that was a real thing. I just thought it was a movie with Chuck Norris.
I just discovered. I just saw that clip of that movie because it's like he had a motorcycle with a rocket in the back. So over the top 80s things I've ever seen. Yeah, I know Chuck Norris is like kung fu movies.
Yeah,
I didn't know he had a. No, I just discovered that he had a Delta Force movie where he has a motorcycle with a rocket firing machine in the back. I mean, it's insane. But yeah, that So I was born in '91, so I gotta go back and look at a lot of these '80s movies and stuff. So
yeah, I was I joined the Navy in '96. So
okay. Did you see? Did you was your what your situation was it similar to that movie Warfare? It came out it came out spring last year.
I haven't got a chance to watch it yet.
Oh, it's probably. I mean, man, it's called the PTSD trigger. That's how accurate it looks. I mean, because I never went downrange because I count my lucky stars that I didn't go downrange. I guess blessed lucky stars that I didn't go downrange because I don't want to. War ain't no joke. So you get butt shot off and you could be the best soldier ever and best Captain America wanna be soldier and get your butt shot off. So I ain't trying to.
I would say my experience over there. Watch the movie The Green Zone with Matt Damon. That has a lot. Yeah, that has a lot of similarities. Like where we were at was very dirty and dusty. I took a helicopter flight over to the embassy.
Yeah,
and the embassy is like a college campus. They had like trees. Everything was nice over there. They had swimming pools. And in the movie The Green Zone, there's a part where he goes I think it's the embassy. He goes talk to these higher ups, and everything's like really nice over there. And that's exactly how it was. They had glass buildings over there. Man, it was crazy. Like I took that was the first time I ever did a helicopter flight. So I took it from where I was at. It's like maybe 20, 30 minutes helicopter flight over to this place called Union 3. And Union 3, which is crazy, it's right next to this highway in Iraq. And they call it the Green Zone. It's actually called the Green Zone.
Wow, okay, it's called the Green Zone. Like
so the only thing that separated the highway and where this little camp was at was a T-wall. So and actually there was like a bridge not too far. You can see people they can basically look in to where this little camp. So from there we drive down the street, but the way they do it, we got in an up armored Suburban, and he just floored it for like 15 minutes, and then we were at the embassy. But then it takes another like 15 minutes to get in. You go into like one thing, they shut everything in there, then they check the vehicle, Then you go to like another checkpoint, they close you in, they check it again, and then the last one, basically do like one more in case like it
But
explodes.
but the reason I
They
brought
take
up
it
a
off.
warfare because it was about Navy SEALs with the Army unit. So I thought that would kind
Mm.
of line up what you were doing.
Yeah,
Because
there was
yeah,
army there, but
yeah.
basically, majority of the things that was going on, like when I was there, like the drones, they was using the
Mhm.
drones. Like what's crazy is a lot of stuff would get posted on YouTube. I don't know who was posting it, like the actual operations. They would do like small clips, like 30-second clips, but the stuff was on YouTube. But
Well,
so yeah, we had so it was majority when I was there, it was all special forces. You had other branches in other countries, and they were all, for the most part, special forces. But I guess the way it worked, it would rotate because after us, the Marines were coming in, and I think like we took over for the Army. So it was just like they were kind of like switching everybody in and out to get a
mm,
chance.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
did get a chance. They flew for 2 weeks. I went to Erbil, which is in northern Iraq, and I worked with the Swedish special forces for a couple weeks, which was that was interesting because majority I don't know if there's a height thing in the Navy as far as Navy SEALs. A lot of those guys are short
Oh,
in
okay.
the
They have
Navy.
little short, little like Wolverine, like the Wolverine from the
Yeah,
comics type dude.
like this one
They
guy I
short
was
little
real.
honey
There's one
badger
guy I
dude.
was real cool with. When we would go to the gym, everybody would just stop working out and just watch this little guy, this little short little guy being there lifting all this weights. But
But
when I
isn't
went,
David Goggins? Isn't he tall though? Like
I
David
think he
Goggins,
is.
like
Yeah,
yeah, he's
for the
one of
most
the
part,
taller
yeah,
ones.
most of
Yeah.
those guys are short. But when I went to work with the Swedish, most of those guys were like 6'5" and up. Those were some tall guys.
Mhm. Yeah, I heard
Yeah,
that. I've heard that they in that country they're tall.
yeah. They have most of our guns were what what were our guns? Like the SIG, that's what those guys we had, but they had like HKs and up
H,
there.
I think HK, the HK 416 is probably one of the best AR variants because it's you can say the gun science is like it's piston driven, so that
Mhm,
piston driven is more reliable than direct impingement of the just standard AR. Because
mhm.
the standard AR it gets so fouled up, and of course, I mean it's an army joke like you never get an AR-15 clean. You can
Yeah,
clean it all day; it never gets clean.
yeah. So one of the SEALs I became cool with, he was an officer. So like nobody over there, they don't go by on last names
Mhm.
or rank. They just call you by your first name. So me and him became cool, and then I started telling him, where I was from. So we started talking about football, and he started telling me his story. So he told me he grew up in Alabama. His dad was a dentist, and his dad went to University of Alabama. And he's a pretty like stocky guy. So he went to University of Alabama. He played
Mhm.
like linebacker for the football team, but he said he wasn't that good. He just was on special teams. And he said he followed his dad's footsteps, and
Mhm.
he became a dentist like his dad. And then when 9/11 happened, he wound up joining the Navy and becoming a Navy SEAL.
But that was that'd be scary. I mean, joining Navy SEALs is like still be scary because you fail out Navy SEALs, you're just in the Navy. I don't want to be on no boat, but that's I don't want to be in no boat, stuck in the
Those
boat.
guys are on boats too. Yeah,
Yeah, but at least you're doing that training with weapons and stuff. But I mean, and all the cool guy stuff. But
Mhm.
not just being a radio operator. And I would hate to be stuck in the Navy, just normal Navy guy, and you're stuck on there with playing on the radio, and it's just in that boat like that. That's a nightmare to me. That's just my personality. I
But
couldn't.
like aircraft carriers, like they can call like a city on the water. You won't feel no current or nothing like
Mhm.
that, and you can be on there for 4 years, and there's people you'll never meet.
Wow. Okay, so
Yeah,
it's a city. It's a city on the boat
yeah,
on water. Yeah.
yeah,
'Cause, I mean, I've been on cruise ships, but I've never been.
yeah,
uh, and I'm
yeah.
not. Yeah, I don't. I don't. Yeah, I think there was a joke. I saw a Marine. He made this video. He's like, people join the Marine Corps and don't know how to swim.
People join the Navy don't know how to swim.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's so
when I was
wild.
at boot camp, they ask you before they ask you in the beginning, if you don't know how to swim, raise your hand. You can go down to the other end and do remedial swimming. where they teach you how to swim and all that and how to float. There's people who don't take them up on that. I guess they feel as though they can do it without the training. They go up there, jump off that 30-foot platform, and then you got to swim to the side and tread water for 5 minutes.
In the uniform too, in the fatigues, the Navy.
No, we didn't do it in the uniform. No.
Okay.
It's just regular like little swim trunks they give you. We had one guy. He was from Arkansas. He was big too. He blamed. He's like, man, I'm only like 3% body fat, man. I don't float, man. That's why I almost drowned.
No,
like, no, man, you don't know how to swim, man. You just can't swim.
But I mean, I'm not a strong swimmer, but I know how to tread water. I mean, come on, they know how to just like doggy paddle or whatever. Like dogs naturally just go like, doggy paddle and tread that water. I mean, how is that so hard? I mean, if you say y'all just did it in the trunks, I thought they now do it where they in the full fatigues and boots, or I think Marines do the full boots and fatigues.
But there's another portion that we do in uniform. You swim in uniform.
Why would they? If they can't swim. Why do they join the Army? Because unless you're special trained, you don't have to do those swimming.
Yeah, we had one guy who was from New York. He said he had never been in a pool. I'm like, how are you here, man? Like, I just don't get it, man. You get people.
they just got slow. You meet some slow people in the military. Sometimes you're like, how are you alive? You're like,
yeah, boot camp, you meet some crazy people, man.
Yeah, at boot camp, you meet crazy people. Yeah. You meet guys straight from the jungle and Zimbabwe and barely speak English, and they're like, "Hello, hello, America." And you're like, "Why'd you join the Army over there? You come all the way over here for this?" Okay,
we had a guy. He was from Peru, and it was so funny. I'm from Peru. I'm from Peru, you bitches. That's how you would talk.
You talk like the little guy from 70s Show.
Yeah. It was funny, man. Yeah, meeting people.
Man, it's some weirdo stuff happened one time because these dudes. There was a weird, skinny white boy who had some maybe weird disease, but they let him in there anyway. Then he had some Frankenstein, maybe mutated PP, and the dudes were trying to look at his PP. I don't care what's wrong with his PP. I'm not into PP, so I don't want to see that dude PP. But there's some weirdo stuff going on. So it's like, what the hell is going on?
We had one guy that I think he wanted I think he might have been on drugs before he joined because he had like a breakdown. He was one night he was in the shower talking about fire in the head. They wound up getting him out of there.
What the heck? He had a relapse with a drug, I guess, because he's a hardcore drug addict. Man, we had a French and another weirdo stuff because modern. Maybe it was happened back then too, but we had a weird. I think French. I think he's a French Cajun from spam caller on my phone. We had a French Cajun from Louisiana, a little skinny, but French. They look like little skinny little guys. They're French descent, I guess, from when the white man first came to America. So he's he's a different platoon than mine. He goes after another French. I guess they're cousins, French Canadian guy that enlisted in the military, in American Army, and he gropes him in front of a drill sergeant like a fool. I don't know if he wanted to get kicked out or he's just such a pervert. He just did this, so he got separated, entry-level separation.
Yeah, I think we had one person get separated from there. I think he was faking that he had like kidney stones. He kept trying to get out of doing like PT, and they just wound up kicking him out.
Well, I mean, because the Navy was still, they're still pretty strict. I mean, to kick you out too, because they just, if you don't PT, right, it's refusing training, right? So
yeah, at that point, they want to kick you out. But if he'd have made it through boot camp, he probably could have stayed in with having kidney. If he did have kidney stones, he probably could have stayed in, and they would have helped treat him at that point because they're not losing money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The military wants to save money and invest it, but if they kick you at entry level, they just save their money.
Yeah.
They only waste the plane ticket on your book, punk.
Yeah.
But so that was it. But yeah, we had girl. It's like if you're like why would you join the Army if you just don't even being weapons and trading and stuff like. They had girls just spaz out, guys just spaz out, and just quit. This is crazy. And then you had eventually the we call it the hangovers. We call them the hangovers and they call them shit bags. They get stuck in basic because they give up or something goes wrong or they get hurt. And the one girl, she was prostituting in the barrack, the bottom of the barracks.
When I was in combat training, we had a lot of people who I had never really shot a gun, but I did well. I qualified and everything on my first time. There was some people, they were still there trying to qualify. Like you don't move past that point. Like every day they all have to go to the range. Yeah, we had people coming back pissed when they didn't make it.
But the modern army, it's like they're just passing people because the ranges are broken. The rifles are inaccurate because they're so worn out. So they just are passing people. But you have people from New York that never shot a weapon because I grew up around weapons, and grew up with shooting. My dad had an AR-15 to let me shoot on occasion, but I grew up shooting definitely BB guns. Those are the fundamentals. I have a BB gun. Yeah, I shoot bugs and wasps with it all day in the backyard in the South. So, shooting, or occasionally my dad let me shoot a real gun, or we had shotguns for. We would go go out and do in Memphis, Tennessee area. They have a lot of skeet trap shooting, really clay pigeons, and you shoot the clay pigeon with a shotgun. So, grew up with shooting. So, but that's the whole thing. That whole thing of this whole myth that some people are saying, if you shot before, you have a bad habit. It's like, no, you can just shoot and pass. I mean, because it's not hard. But yeah. So this whole thing about if you've shot before, any gun before, you'll fail. And it's like, no. But most of the ranges.
What was your job when you were in the Army?
Oh, yeah. Well, first, it's a crazy story. So this is a little crazy, but I picked one of the harder AIT MOSs in the Army because I scored pretty high in the ASVAB. So I picked a 68 kilo lab technician. So I go to I get past basic, go to Fort Sam Houston, and we're actually trained with a lot of Navy corpsmen that are going to be lab technicians too. But the course they changed the course right when I got there, and people were passing because people were handing down the Quizlets of the course. They changed the course around right when I got there, and you could no longer. I had to make my quizzes from scratch. Had to train with other guys that already took the course, they're further along, and it just was. And the military lifestyle, it just wore on me because it's called the fire hose of knowledge because they condensed down 2 years of a medical degree into 6 months and put that in your face. And so the fail rate was went from people were passing at 60% rate for the old course, and then went to 10% because they changed the course. They had a lot of teachers had thick accents from South America and Mexico. I don't know why they picked those dudes. And then can't understand what he's saying. And then you're trying to do the car. The mitochondrial DNA is therefore such as, and you're like, what is this guy saying? So then at least get a white guy and he can speak English. So anyway, and so I failed out after 6 months of being there. And then they reclassed me to CBRN, a job that sucks. So CBRN is chemical warfare. They probably call it NBC when you first joined, right? NBC?
I never heard that. Can you explain it a little bit more to me?
Okay, maybe you don't really do that in the Navy. Okay, NBC or back the Army, old school Army, you called it NBC. Marines do it. I think Marines do it a lot. NBC is nuclear, biological, chemical warfare. Then it changed to, in about 10 years, 10 years before I joined, it became CBRN, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosive counter specialist soldier. So we train on how to use of course, every soldier's issue a gas mask, but we train on how to use the gas mask. We train on how to detect all the chemical warfare agents that were invented in World War One, like blister agent, phosgene. What's another one? It's blister mainly and phosgene, and then the nerve agents are really deadly. VX, that's one of the most deadly ones. VX and other nerve agents. So yeah, and sarin. And sarin's another terrible nerve agent. And we go and learn to detect those with our chemical detectors. And we also sometimes are issued a high-tech German Geiger counter made by a German scientists. So they make this Geiger counter that can detect radiation. Then we also have a simple radiation one where it detects gamma and beta radiation. It's still a technical job. It's just what sucks about it is that I was stationed in El Paso, Texas, one of the hottest places in the world, other than the actual Iraq, and we have to wear MOPP gear for a lot of our missions.
Yeah.
So we had even a Mexican junior NCO pass out. One time he did a mission in the middle of summer, and he passed out. So we were all about to pass out, but I still hung in there. But it's really hot, like being a firefighter hot. Hot as being a firefighter. Because that's what do y'all issue MOPP gear in the Navy, like in your unit?
No, you don't get issued it until like when I deployed. Yeah, I got issued it when I deployed.
Well, that's what my job in the Army was, always trading with MOPP gear. You have to put your gas mask on 8 seconds and then put on the MOPP gear in 8 minutes. It's constantly train, all that. So that war, I was happy to get out because that's very grueling. So that's, but I'm they give you hazmat certification. So be a lot of guys get out of my job in a Seabird and go be a firefighter because it lines up with that job. Just like you're going to be a firefighter, you just have to learn how to use the water hose. But you already know how to use PPE because MOPP gear. Same thing with bunker gear in fire. I was a firefighter, a volunteer firefighter in North Carolina because I was already did that in the military. Just learn how to use the hose and whatever, because bunker gear is so similar to the MOPP gear. So
so my job when I joined was admin. So after I took the ASVAB, they gave me I think it was like 4 or 5 jobs. So like the first 3 were all aviation jobs, and then when I seen for admin it's called yeoman for the Navy. When I read it, it said like air conditioned office. I was like, once I saw that air conditioned office,
cushy job.
I was like, I'll take this one right here.
But that's how the Army. That's how the Army, FUCKs us, because we pick a cushy job and they make it so academically difficult. Like, I'm a pretty smart guy, but you try to shove that much knowledge in my head in 2 years and 6 months, and most of us fail out because we're so tired. And then we go be a chemical rat. Like, that's what the Army does. They're gonna get their money out you. So
yeah, definitely. You're gonna learn a lot. They're gonna make sure you absorb a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
But my time in, so I worked on the aviation side. I worked, recruiting. I worked in the medical side of the house, and then I also worked with special forces. So, like I said,
that's cool. Because a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of civilians don't realize that the Navy has a lot of aircraft.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, like even so, I was at a squadron where we had. I was at a squadron where we had 737s. Like people don't realize the Navy has their own 737s. They just say U.S. Navy on the side. So
Top Gun is Navy. Yeah, the Top Gun movie is a Navy recruitment movie. Is Navy. Yeah.
Yep. There's all type of planes. My first duty station was in Point Mugu, California, and we had it's called a P3, P3 Orion, which is a sub hunter. So that was they no longer have those planes, but that was back in the day. That was they did hunt subs. So Navy has a lot of planes, man.
Okay.
Yep. It's a lot of planes.
Yeah. If I was known that, I was known that because I just I would have books about aircraft. You see a lot of Navy aircraft. So as a kid. So
I didn't realize it even when I joined that the Navy had a lot of planes, had helicopters.
But my dad was a pilot, and then he worked for FAA. So he always give us books on different aircraft. So I already knew that the Navy, of course, Army is really in the more helicopters for their combat roles, and then they have the big fixed wing aircraft, the transport. Then the Navy has a lot of aircraft. So I always knew that because I had all these books my dad would give me on all these aircraft.
Yeah.
So that's why I knew. So
when I was stationed in Jacksonville, that's when we had the 737s, but the Navy calls them C-40. We took that to Japan. We went to Japan. Okay. Yeah, I had a chance to go to Italy, but I chose to go back to Japan.
So because you were in like the anime, or you like the ninja, or you were into something in Japanese culture more than Italian culture? Like that's why.
Boy, you meet people over there, so you come back. I put it like that. I met somebody over there, so when I had a chance to come back, I went
Oh,
over there.
okay. Okay, yeah. I mean, but I hear that it's an epidemic of of prostitution. I hear they. If
What
you
was it
send
like?
me a book about
Thailand. I
it,
went to Thailand. We went to Thailand. Yes,
Mhm.
I went to Singapore. Same thing. Yes, that's really huge over there. Yeah,
it's just a culture. Yeah, they're
some of
straight up
that like
prostitutes,
it's not even frowned upon. It's like it's just a way of life. Like
yeah.
in some of those countries,
Yeah.
just like how people don't look down on it. Where's that? Not Las Vegas, but Reno or something. How it's not looked down upon over there. It's just a part of the lifestyle like they live. That's one way they make money. Like so, it's not looked down upon over there.
Yeah, it's just like taking a girl on a date. You're still paying, so no one cares. Yeah.
But it was funny when we were in Thailand. They were like, "Sexy black man, soul brother."
Mhm. Well, like a Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah. Yep.
So, brother, steak too big, too buku. So yeah, it's like that. But yeah, man. I mean, is it? I mean, but it's a straight up commercial, or is it? Or are they? Do they fake the funk?
Ours is just like a straight up commercial. Why we had the seats in there like a regular airplane. But one thing about ours, we could.
Oh, I'm talking about the interactions with the females. I'm talking about is it straight up commercial sex, or is this, or
no.
Are they fake the funk of, or are they actually genuinely
in Thailand? No, that's straight up like they trying to get you to come into their bar. Yeah, they want to sleep and get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's straight up like but it wasn't that overt. But they would just want to talk to you, and it wasn't like money, sex. Like it was kind of more of a conversation and stuff like that.
Oh, they give you a girlfriend experience, though. They give you the girlfriend.
Yeah,
experience.
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they makes it.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think they want to stay with you all night or something like that. But yeah,
I mean,
and
what about? I mean, we all heard the ladyboy thing. Like, is it rampant? Like we heard it's rampant. Never been there.
I've heard of that. I never ran into nothing like that.
Okay.
I guess if you out there like that, yeah, you wind up, getting taken into something like that. But
I have a white acquaintance that he had I think a Hispanic Marine that went over there to Thailand into like 2005 or 2006. Because they're in their 40s now. So he went there in 2005, 2006, messed with the ladyboy, didn't tell him what it was. Once he once he discovers it's a born male, he still goes through with it. So of course he's into homosexuality. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, I didn't hang around. I
heard it's rampant. I just saw what I heard. Because I had a roommate and this is crazy. So I hear they get. I don't know. Because I'm American. I don't know about all these places, but I hear that it's rampant. Like a lot of these little, a lot of African countries are pillaged by Europe and Arabic countries, and they take advantage. They I don't want to be vulgar, but they assault these guys. So then they're used to that being assault. So a lot of them are turned out. So when they get to America, they're already turned out. So I had a roommate from like Ethiopia, crazy dude, little skinny, and don't look anything like an American guy. Just dark skin, but looking like Starving Marvin. Okay, so he come to American guys with a completely different. Because to me, I can tell that you're from America, and then I can see an African guy and be like, okay, he's from Africa. So we look totally different, in my opinion. So then he's from Africa or whatever, crazy dude. And then he comes over and we're stationed in El Paso. We go out to the bar one time and, go to the bar. He picks up a obvious trans Mexican dude. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I didn't know. It's like, no, you knew. They had a mustache thicker than mine. What are you talking about? So it's like, come on, man. So you into that? You into that, man? Come on, dude. But it's like I don't want to bring Halo here too much. But it's like the whole Mr. Morse. when he did an interview one time, and the dude knew he guilty. He said, "So would you grab one cheek or both cheeks?" You know.
Each his own, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I was joking on it, but yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
you can do what you where if you like it, I love
Yeah.
it. You do what you want to do.
So while you were in, were there any like special programs that you learned about, like that you didn't know before you came in,
Man, my unit didn't really.
or any
Uh,
jobs that you didn't know
no,
about
man,
before you joined?
my unit didn't really. Uh, they barely. We barely had time. Some. No, we had a big Hispanic guy that he was from Mexico City. He would go to school online. He used to, they would pay. I think the military pays for 4 college courses while you're in 4 college courses a semester. He did that type of stuff, and then we had yeah, but my job, we also had a additional. Sometimes we have special trainings where I would had a mission to go to Utah to go to and that's one of the capitals of the chemical corps is where they have all these crazy chemical weapons, and they have all this stuff in there that can kill a human being, and or maybe I don't know if that hurts that. I mean, now they only can't even say KIA, but I don't lie, whatever. A human being in like 30 seconds. That's how powerful some of these weapons are. So they have and then they have this little thing where you put your hand in there, you can play with these weapons. I mean, you could put it in a chemical detector and see it turn green because we have also strips to dip it, and then you turns a certain color, and this is blister, this is nerve, this is blood agent. So, but it's crazy how much they have stockpiled. I mean, they could hurt us all with this stuff. But anyway, but they have a lot of that stockpiled. But yeah, man. I mean, yeah, that's basically because it's and also they had the special program where it's a special certification in the Army where you learn all your knots to help rescue people.
Okay.
I forget what it's called. They would train for that a lot too. But yeah, that was the main thing they would train. They just do additional chemical warfare training and additional learning your knots to help for your Army. It's like the Army Ranger kind of knot school.
Yeah.
So
when I was deployed, I met this girl. She was in the Navy, and I did not know the Navy had I forget how to pronounce it, like human. So basically her job, she was like a human lie detector test. Like that was her job. She was a human lie detector. I didn't realize we had people like that, in the Navy. But because she was on the intel side, I guess you don't hear.
I was about to say, I was like, is that intel?
Yeah.
I was going to say,
yeah,
that
she was
intel?
on the intel. And what's crazy is just a few years ago, I ran into her one day at the gym here where I live at. I saw her in Iraq, and I think she was stationed in California at the time. But I live here in Maryland now. I'm at the gym. I'm like, hey, you look familiar.
Okay, it's a small world. I mean, you see a person you were in the Navy with, and you could have been anywhere, and now you're back home and you're seeing her. That's small world stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, ran into her. But yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, I didn't know we had those type of jobs.
Yeah,
people would always say when you talk to her, don't lie. They were always joking about it.
I wonder how much their accuracy of I mean, because it's probably high, but it's probably like 90%, 95%. Where we all have some instincts, like Mr. Moore, like you could tell when a guy is telling the truth versus a guy is lying. Like if I reminisce over a girl I had, I'll be thinking like, I pulled down her pants or whatever, and I'm reminiscing because I did it. You see it in my mind. But when you're BSing, like like that movie with that comedy movie, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, he had never been with a girl before, so he's just making it up and it's all bullshit. So you can tell a lie from bullshit. But it's just I wonder what her actually is compared to a polygraph for her lie detection.
Yeah, I guess in some places her word is probably more than a polygraph.
Yeah. I reckon that it's probably best on like other. What it does she specialize in? Does she have to be a linguist too to interrogate these foreign
She
guys?
wasn't a linguist, but I didn't know either. We had active duty military linguists. I thought all the linguists were like contracted out, but we had active duty linguists in the Navy.
Oh, okay, yeah. I heard about him, but I never met one in the army, but I heard about it, but I never. We had guys that were, if the army recruited a guy from Pakistan, and they would, if they knew the same Farsi as the Afghanistans, they give them a bonus.
Yeah.
So that's how that works. So they sort of speak it, That's why
So
they were.
So when I was deployed, I was one of my like collateral duties at first was like linguistic program manager for the unit. So after a while, I wound up becoming linguistic program manager for the whole country. So it was crazy. I got this phone call from this warrant officer from the embassy. That's one reason why I was over there before. And he was like, "Hey man, we're gonna come over. We need to talk to you." He's like, "It's nothing bad." It was like 3 of them that came. It was one. They
Y'all
came
got
over.
warrants too. Y'all got warrants in the Navy.
The
now,
Navy
right?
has warrant officers, yes.
Okay.
So he was in, but this guy was in the Army. He's like, basically, outside of our where I worked at, there was like this little trailer, and the civilian guys who hired the linguists, the interpreters, that's where they worked at. So that's where they wanted me to meet them at, and they basically said, "Hey man, we kind of like what you're doing. Can you help us out with taking over, the program manager for the Terps for the whole country?" And it wasn't that hard, but the only thing about it, like basically what I was doing was save the Canadians in some over here in Western Iraq. They need a linguist. I was the one who, hey, this linguist we're going to move this linguist over there, for these couple weeks, and the civilians basically were the ones who pay for the travel. Like they're the ones who did all that because their company is the one who hired those linguists over there. So it was basically just like dealing with people, stuff like that. Funny story is like we had this one unit, I can't remember the name of it, we just call it TQ, and TQ got like a mortar round, and they had took everybody out of there and moved it down to Baghdad. So they were about to open back up because they shut it down for a couple months, and there was this one Terp. He was basically he showed up. There was this high classified briefing. He was supposed to show up. He was supposed to be with, I think he was with the French. And he comes in like a t-shirt and shorts. And basically they was like, "What are you doing, man?" Like they basically like, "We don't want this guy, like fire this guy." And
because he didn't come in full, in the
they wanted him to be dressed up.
Yeah.
And he comes in like a t-shirt and shorts. They're like, "No."
There's a uniform for these. The interpreter is active Navy or Army or what?
These people are civilians that a lot of them honestly come from like Dearborn, Michigan area up there, over there. A lot of them, that's where they came from. So they have to take like a proficiency test and all this stuff before they get hired and stuff like that. So like he should have had.
They're American civilians. Okay, they're American civilians.
He didn't. Okay. Yeah, I think his background, he was Iraqi at the end of
the
day.
He's Iraqi.
He's from the States. He's from the
States. He's from the States, but he's Iraqi descent. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay.
And he like I said, he just showed up in a t-shirt and shorts, and they were like, I guess they were tired of his mess, whatever. So so the company, the guy from the company was like, "Man, he said, I've been wanting to fire this guy. We need to come up with something." I said to him, let's tell him we're going to send him to TQ. We can send him to TQ since it's about to open up. He was like, so we had this meeting with him over in the trailer, and we told him we were going to send him to TQ, and he's like, "I'm not going." He's like, "I'll resign before I go." And then he starts getting the other guy's face. I kind of break it up. Like, he's like, "I'm not upset with you. He's always been the problem." And I'm like, basically I'm calming him down. I'm calming the other guy down.
Yeah.
But basically he says, "Give me a sticky note." He just writes on the sticky note, "I resign," and hands it to the guy. And like, then he just leaves because he did not want to go to TQ.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the movie Warfare, it showed you that I don't know because the movie it's a slice of life type of movie, but they show the Iraqi guys are allied with the Americans too, like, and they have AK-47s and they're full fatigues on. So but he's an American citizen that's from Iraq, so that's a different situation. Yeah. So, and
if you go outside, I don't want to say too much, but there's an area outside that's close to where we were at.
Hmm.
It had another name, and local nationals, people that were in Iraq, they could come there, and get hired and stuff like that for jobs.
Okay. I mean, is this stuff still classified? Because I mean,
I don't
I have
think
an
it's
uncle
classified, but like I said,
that we
some
were
of those some of those missions you could see on YouTube, which I
yeah.
was just like, is this legal? This is okay? But it was
Yeah,
all
but I have an uncle that went to Nam, and he's still talking about it's classified. It's a special mission. I was one, and we're like, well, we don't want to piss him off, but we're like,
yeah.
that was 50 years ago. It's over now. It's over now.
Yeah.
So it's declassified. Gulf of Tonkin is declassified. They blew up their own ship. I mean, it's declassified now. So
Yeah, that was interesting working with the Terps. Most of them, like I said, for the most part, was cool. Check this out. So, you know how guys are in the military when it comes to women. So we get this one.
the simping and all that shit.
So listen to this. So we had this one interpreter, this female. She was pretty,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and this Air Force guy, when you take over and they find out what your job title and stuff like that, this man didn't waste. No, I would say honestly, once like somebody, people talk, he came into me, was like, "Hey man, I need to get her in my unit, man. We short, we need an interpreter." So, they needed an interpreter. I'd say this, within a week, she was filing sexual harassment charges. And when I went to him, I'm like, "Yo, man, I stuck my neck out." I went off on this guy, and he outranked me. And he was just like, "Man, it was misunderstanding." And I went off on him. I was like, he was just there's no misunderstanding, man. I know how deployments are. Man. I know what was going on.
He
wanted to be all apologetic, man. I was like, man, like, come on.
But, I mean,
not even a week.
We had some mess up situations because I wasn't there for this one. A black NCO and a white female that was married to a Hispanic male said that she was harassed by this black NCO. So I was like, I wasn't there, didn't see what happened. The guy could have done, I don't know. Some guys are nuts. So, you never know. And then we had situations where the chick is like a straight up, like, just promiscuous. And so she's an NCO. We all heard the rumor that she slept with promiscuous white NCO sleeps with two white specialists. Even though they're only one rank apart, it's still like, you know how it is. Once you make NCO, you have more authority. So it just was like, and at the same time, disgusting. And we have a Hispanic female that I just never mess with military chicks. I always go off post and get some civilian chick or some shit. Like, why you don't the old saying goes, you don't shit where you eat.
Yes, I agree with that 100%.
And I mean, one time right before I got out, a black female NCO tried to get me in trouble because I didn't even do anything. And so I just had a situation other day, a Hispanic guy, I think it was the day before last night. It was a Thursday night. I'm at with my friend drinking. Similar situations will happen in the military. Some girls think I'm very attractive. Some girls think I'm ugly, whatever. But it's like this Hispanic guy says, "You made a girl feel uncomfortable." I was like, "What girl made her feel comfortable? I didn't even do anything." So you have some guys that you have this situation going on where you have girls false accusing guys, just making them feel uncomfortable. There was the actor that played Eazy-E 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's his fault because he went with his co-star drinking and did something stupid, and she later came back and said, "I feel uncomfortable." No crime, but you say I feel uncomfortable. That's all catch-all, So.
Yeah. You know how you were talking about the husband and the wife. So at my first duty station, there was we'll just say Sailor A. He's married. Then you got Sailor B. So Sailor A's wife had a threesome with Sailor B and his wife. So eventually, Sailor A's wife started to feel bad, and she confesses to her husband of having a threesome with Sailor B and his wife. So my man, he comes in because I worked in admin. So admin, we're next to the CO, and we do legal. He's in there crying, he wanted something done. So back when I came in, the military was over base housing.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things he said is, and military could back then, military can do on the spot inspection of your, like, if you lived in a barracks or if you lived in base housing.
Mm-hmm.
So they did an on the spot inspection. He failed. His house was filthy, and then they also wound up kicking him out for adultery.
Yeah, that's the military clause that still can. I think they still can enforce that, even though now homosexuality is cool. But it's like, they can just kick you out for that. so it's no joke. It's no joke. But it's no joke. Didn't when I was in, they were bringing in the trans people, and it was getting crazy. But I think now Trump said he would kick him out, and didn't Pete Hegseth say he gonna kick him out?
They've kicked him out. We had one in my job, like last year. She was that person was there one day, gone, never seen again. Yeah,
I had an NCO.
It was a weird situation, you try to be, because they were officer, but it's like, man, you 6'3", biggest, tallest than me. And then he was a guy. He was born a guy, who was transitioned to a woman, but the hair didn't match. I always want to like play with it.
I saw one in AIT. That's the only real active duty. I only saw one NCO in AIT that was male to female.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only one I saw in my military career. Other other than chicks that just with short haircuts that are just butchy, whatever. But that's a truly male to female. I saw one in AIT in 2020, but yeah, it's just weird. It's weird. And I know a guy from North Carolina that he was North Carolina National Guard. He got in the National Guard is not hardcore, as you know, but he had equivalent AR-15 in National Guard because he called his officer, who's male to female, sir, when it looked like just a guy, a frat boy with makeup on. So clearly a male with makeup on. So you call him sir, we call him ma'am. So it's just silly to me.
When I joined the Navy, there was when I was at MEPS. So you know how everyone's there at MEPS?
Yeah, of course. I remember.
There was an individual.
MEPS, yeah.
So there was an individual there. I couldn't put my finger on. I was like, is that a girl or a guy? I was like if I look like this way, it's like that's a guy. I look this way, that's a girl. So all day I'm just going back and forth in my head, just like, man, I can't figure them out. Do you remember on Saturday Night Live they had this character called Pam, and they couldn't figure out if it was a man.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
That's exactly how it was.
My first experience of that was when I was a kid in Germany. There was a person that was one, the name was Taylor. Two, the parent dressed him in overalls, and then we think it's a little boy the whole entire time, and then she's we're only 6 years old anyway. Yeah. But he's like, by the way, I'm a little girl. We're like, you're a girl. Look like a white little boy. It's like, you're a girl.
So when it came time to swear in, they tell you take out your earrings and stuff like that. So this guy, the guy was like, hey man, why aren't you gonna take your earring out? He was like, why I gotta take my earring out if he ain't gonna take his earring out? And that's when that individual was like, this he is a she. I was like,
oh my god.
I was trying to figure it out all day. I was like, oh, there's my answer.
But it's just one of those. But some people, I guess some people, they can't really help it. They're just a female that's born looking more like a dude, I guess.
Yeah, she had the real short hair, but she had like a either a hoodie or a sweatshirt that was kind of baggy, so you couldn't really tell. And then so it was just like, but that was so funny. She was like, this he is a she. That man immediately took his, he just took his earring. And then we all did our swearing. But yeah, I couldn't figure it out, but I got my answer.
I mean, y'all. I mean, is it? Was it? It's probably. Is it really more rampant in the Navy? I mean, that's what we heard here. It's
as
rampant.
far as
Homosexuality in all its varieties. I don't care if they call it LGBTQIA or whatever they call it.
I don't know, like
I thought it was rampant, like prison, rampant, like Mr. Bark.
here's what I'll say. I didn't really see any homosexuals in the Navy until I got stationed in DC.
Mm.
So honestly, when I think back, I didn't really see none. I'm trying to think. I didn't really see none until I got into DC. Why DC?
Capital, a lot of people coming in and out.
I know honestly in DC there's a big huge area, there's a big huge population down here of that, but I mean it's that's all over the country, so I don't
It
know
is
why.
now, yeah.
But it is that, and I'm trying to think back. Yeah, I mean when I was in Florida, we had one guy. There was one guy when I was stationed in Jacksonville.
Mhm.
When I was in California, no. When I was in California, I don't remember coming across anybody in my command. But
Wow.
for the most part,
but
when
people
I
are
was
not
here
from.
when I was in DC.
But it's the military. No one's from where they're stationed at most times.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
you don't have California culture. California culture is being cool.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
So
You know-
when I was stationed here in DC, one day like I was saying, I worked with a guy who was homosexual. But he was like when I would come in the office, what's up, humbles? Then when a girl come in, hey girl. But
he's like, you know, they're call it switch
Yeah.
hit, switch hitter or whatever.
yeah, but this is where I found out about his situation. One day we got into like a debate, and he was talking about HIV, how you can live. I'm just like, nah, man, that's a death sentence, man. You get that, it's over with for you. And I'm just like going in, you know, just like being like going in. And then one day, me and him had we both had medical appointments. We both had to go to Bethesda. That's Walter Reed now. So we both went there, and while we were there, he was like, all right, man, I'm about to go into my appointment. And right where we were turning, right where he was going to his appointment, that was in infectious diseases. So at that point, that I realized that's why he was like making that point that you can live longer having HIV, and it's not as bad as ways things used to be back in the day. And when I saw it, I was just like, I felt like an idiot, man. And I'm
Well,
just
he's
like,
right, because I don't want to go into this crazy dude. This crazy dude whose name starts with an F. He was giving people what's called a black box drug, and they were dropping like flies because they already lived that crazy lifestyle. There's a whole
Mhm.
documentary called The House of Numbers, how the test for HIV is fraudulent, and it's free on YouTube. But Dr. Kerry Mullis, he was a guy. He's one of the Miss Dr. F's main antagonists. So he's one that he right before they rolled out the new thing. Right, they killed. Some people say they unalived him because he was there saying like, no, you don't use the PCR test to test for a virus. It's not meant for that.
Mhm.
So I remember being active duty. Like they go and swab me. One day I'm positive for the C word. The next day I'm negative. Why? How does that make sense? Yeah. So this test, and the guy went, a white journalist went up there, went to I think he was in UK. He asked an African chick, but do you think I have HIV? She says, are you heterosexual? First they ask you all these questions. Are you heterosexual? Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, I'm heterosexual. Because they'll more likely to make it where you'll be positive. It's so weird. Why is it, if the test is accurate, why do they ask you your sexuality?
Yeah.
Because it's what people think. I'm like on the whole thing. I think that because I believe is that this guy Fauci lied, and it was a lifestyle that these guys. Because I have an uncle that died of that. So they were doing this drug, and they're doing this crazy lifestyle, and that's destroying their immune system, and they tell you it's a virus. No, if you're doing that type of activity with a bunch of guys, and then you're doing a drug that lowers your immune system, that's when it take you out. It does not. They never isolate the HIV virus.
Hmm.
If you look it up, but man, it's just there's so many lies we're being told.
Yeah.
So
you can actually serve with having HIV now. Once
wow.
it becomes full blown, they kick you out. They medically discharge you.
Yeah, but see the test determines that. But then you
Yeah.
could be like because it's like you could be like if you're emaciated. There was one guy that he quit. There's in that movie documentary. He was a homosexual dude. He quit clubbing like they were, and he took steroids and he got healthy again. So it cured his disease because he stopped getting all this random homosexual sex from all these dudes. So then he got healthy again. See, if it was a virus, that he would just die. You know, he wouldn't be able to. But people can believe what you want. I just don't. I don't trust the Fauci dude. I think he's a liar. Yeah. So I think that he's lying about all this shit. But yeah, man. But I mean, they give you the HIV test in the Navy. I don't know how that works with
they give him before you even join. Because when I was at recruiting, we would get these letters from the MEP station, from like the medical department,
mm-hmm.
and our head, called a CR, like chief recruiter. He said, "You know what this letter means, almost?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "This means they tested positive for HIV." So we would get a nice amount of letters. It was kind of sad, man. So like, yeah, you can't join with it, but if you're in and you pop that you have it, you can stay in until it's full blown.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's like, but they got rid of. You were still in when they got rid of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So
it wasn't like when I first came in. It wasn't like, oh, they preached Don't Ask, Don't Tell. It wasn't. I don't think it. I mean, it was out there, but the only time it became an issue when they repealed it. That's the only time I really heard about it. It wasn't like we talked about Don't Ask, Don't Tell all the time. It wasn't really a thing until they repealed it. I mean, you just knew I wasn't going nowhere talking about my sexuality or anything like that. So
there was no like guys that they don't your NCO don't or the leader in your squad or whatever y'all call it, like they don't if the guys they know the guys in the closet, they don't try to expose them. They don't give a damn.
Yeah, there was none of that going on.
Okay.
With anybody. Yeah.
I heard in the 90s in the Army, if you were that way, they mad. Like some dudes are trying to expose you. Like the movie In the Army Now, the comedy movie. I don't know if you've ever seen that one.
No.
Old movie called In the Army Now. It's a comedy with Pauly Shore, and it takes place in like '93. They join the National Guard. They get sent to Iraq for the first Gulf War. Hate life. So that him and Andy Dick try to be like, hey, we'll fake being homosexual to get out. So they go up to their black first sergeant and be like, hey, we're like that. So he's like, we'll kiss each other. And you're like, damn it. They couldn't kiss each other, so they couldn't get out.
Yeah.
Because back then, the Army puts you out immediately.
Yeah, that was, if it's known. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but we've been on an hour, man. I guess you probably want to wrap up, but yeah, man. Yeah. So I mean, I'm fighting for I got a general discharge, so I'm fighting to get my upgrade. But that's gonna take forever, man.
I think you can just apply for that through like is it through your congressman, like through, or how do you do that? Or do you do that?
I do that. I already did it through the site, and it takes forever for to get the hearing. Congressman don't.
Right. You did it to the board. Did you go through the Board of Corrections, something like that?
I went to the Board of Corrections.
Yeah, Board of Corrections.
What's so confusing is the Army Corrections Board. They first said I applied for it when I first got out. A year after I got out, I applied for it. They sent me that I got an honorable. Then they never sent me an DD-15. Then I asked for it again, and they then some crazy fool said that they brought that I was late one time to the field duty and that I deserve a general. So I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
So some crazy administrator wrote this stuff to save the military money. So then I said, I want a hearing.
Yeah.
I went on the website to apply for a hearing, but it takes, the government is so slow. It takes forever.
And if I'm not mistaken, the Board of Corrections for Armies at the Pentagon.
You said the Pentagon, yeah. As far as in DC, yeah.
Yeah, it's at the Pentagon. If I'm not mistaken, that's where all of the Board of Corrections for each branch are at the Pentagon.
Yeah, I think so.
Except the Air Force. When I worked at Andrews, that's their Board of Corrections was in the building I worked in. Because sometimes the veterans would come in and could sit in on the on it.
And I mean, so and they have the hearing there in person.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, but did you see how much we're favorable or how much we're just?
I never really got involved in that. So what my job I did, I worked for the Physical Disability Board for Review. So anybody who was medically separated from 9/11 to 2020, if you submitted an application, you can have your medical discharge looked over. So we kind of worked with the Board of Corrections. So we were on the fourth floor, they were on the third floor. So we would go down there from time to time. So, and I never, because the only thing about reason why I can't say, because I don't know what the case was that they were having that day, or what transpired after. I wouldn't see any of that. Yeah.
Well, it's private. It's a private hearing.
Yeah.
It's a closed hearing, right?
Yeah.
You don't know what the people standing in judgment are saying and what the veterans saying. You don't know what happened. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're doing everything that you're supposed to do within that time frame, they're supposed to change it. They're supposed to change it. So
yeah, I mean, and it's and they technically separated me I have a pattern. It's my discharge is technically patterns of misconduct because guess what? Right when I was getting out, Biden said, "Oh, you can stay if you didn't take the shot." So then I said, "I'm getting out of here anyway." So then so they gave me a pattern of misconduct. So that kind of hurts me, even though then I get a letter eventually saying you were separated for the C word. So then I'm like, oh yeah. So it's which one is it, military? But I'm not. They said come back. We can give you back. We might give you back. Hey, I said might. Might is like the word if. This is one of the biggest words. Might and if.
Yeah.
The biggest words in English. There are only a few letters, but they're really big because might is huge and if is huge.
Yeah.
Come on, come on, man. You can't just say might. You gotta say you are guaranteed $10,000 if you come back. Like, okay.
Yeah.
You can't say might.
Yeah.
You show up and you back with no money, and you're just we give you specialists. They upgrade. They promoted specialists. I don't care about that little E4 mafia. Man, so that was so dumb. But hey, man, I got out. Don't look back. I get my 100% disability. So I got out and don't look back. So I had back surgery before I got out. I mean, it's a minor back surgery where they burn your lumbar nerve. But yeah, when I got out, I didn't look back, man. So
yeah, that's what's up. So I'm glad. I hope everything works out for you, man.
Yeah, I'm a real estate agent now, so I just I do that. My first deal was a Navy guy. Yeah.
Where you at again? What city are you in right now?
Well, I live near Ocala. I live in Denellen, near
Florida.
Ocala.
Okay, I know Ocala. Yeah. That's not far from Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's not far. And but my office is a little further from Jacksonville. It's in Inverness. So
okay,
Inverness is it's 40 minutes south of where I live. 40 minutes south where I live.
Okay. That's what's up. Small world,
man. Yeah.
It's nice talking with you, man.
All right.
Yeah,
thanks, Uncle. Yeah.
All right, man. You have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye.